Hey, welcome to Dovetail. This demo is all about the value of integrating Gong into Dovetail. So let's jump in. Now, Gong is a super rich source of insights. It is ongoing longitudinal data that constantly flows from your frontline sales and CS team about what your customers are looking for in your product, the pains that they have, the requests that they have, and everything in between. Now, traditionally, this treasure trove of calls has been siloed and locked away in the Gong instance, and most people in an organization outside of the go-to-market team do not have access to these insights. And this is why it is so important to get these calls into your customer intelligence platform so that you can start exploring the opportunities that live within these insights. And the Gong integration with Dovetail allows you to do just that. So today we're going to step through exactly how to set it up, how it works, and what the value will look like once you've got it all humming away and working. So let's go ahead and jump in. To connect Gong to Dovetail, you actually set up a channel. Now, channels is our purpose-built product for high-volume longitudinal data that aggregates, analyzes, and surfaces themes and opportunities from this high-volume data. We're talking, hundreds of calls a day, thousands of calls a day. We want that going into a channel with a live ingestion so that when you need the insights, they're there for you, organized, categorized, and ready to be surfaced. So let's go ahead and set up a channel. You can go New, Channel, and then you'll be presented with the source list. Now, there's a bunch of integrations with channels. Today, we're going to focus on Gong, obviously. You can see here it's still got its beta tag, so please, as always, give us feedback on how this is going for you. Click on Gong, and then you're going to be asked to authenticate through. Now, importantly, and this is all in our Help Center doc, you do need to hold an admin seat to authenticate through and connect this integration. Now, you can do this yourself if you're a Gong user with admin rights, or you can invite your admin into Dovetail. They don't need to take up a paid seat. They just need admin rights, and they can authenticate and connect this integration for you. You just need to do it once. Once it's on and live and humming away, the ingestion will start firing. So for me, I do have an admin seat in our Gong instance, so I'm going to go ahead and hit allow. Now, once that authentication happens, we're then going to go ahead and set up our integration. Couple of different options here. You are able to actually backfill from your Gong instance. So this means that you might want to bring in the last 7, 30, 96 months worth of calls into your Dovetail channel. Now, backfills don't actually eat up your data point allowance. So you can go ahead and backfill as much as you want and get immediate value from channels once we analyze and classify that data for you. I'm going to go ahead and do the last 30 days. And then you're able at this point to select the type of calls that you want to bring in. Now, this is in beta. We do intend to expand out the different ways you can segment the data you're bringing in. Right now, what we have is by team. So a use case for this is you might want to bring in your enterprise calls from Rob's team, but you don't want to bring in your mid-market calls from Maddie's team, for example. So you can go ahead and toggle on or toggle off whichever teams you want to actually bring in the calls from. I'm going to go ahead and click all and then hit continue. Now, the next step in setting up this integration into a channel is to actually give some context so that you can drive the AI to surface and identify the things that you care about. Now, this might be information on who you are, who your team is, your product lines, things that you're interested in surfacing. You can, of course, change this and tweak this prompt after the fact. So I'm going to skip it now, but in future, if you do want to continue to tweak that prompt, head up to your little meatball menu up here, find context, and you can continue to tweak that as your channel ingests more and more data. Now, the next step here is our channel is going to do the first run at analysis and find what we call topics. Now, these are your top buckets, you might say, for the themes and opportunities that we've identified in your Gong data. So here we've had a first run at finding there's user experience topics here, there's habits topics here, there's feature requests. This is all looking really good. You can add your own topics at this point. So if there's certain product lines that you want to identify, if there's certain pain points or keywords that you're looking for, add them here as a topic by hitting new, give it a title, and give it a prompt. Super simple. You can also delete topics here. If the things that we're finding are not of interest to you, you can go ahead and delete these as well. So let's go ahead and hit finish. And now Channels is going to start aggregating all of those data points from the last 30 days that I've brought in. You can see here on the left-hand side, I've got my topics. You can always add new topics ongoing. So again, it's not something that's a once and done thing. You can continue to refine the types of themes and opportunities that we aggregate and surface for you. In the middle here, we've got all of the themes that Channels has found in my Gong data. So this is kind of like that middle layer of analysis where you're getting a little bit more granular. We've got competitor comparison, for example, and then the theme here is easier discovery process, superior content variety. We're starting to get a little bit more granular with the themes within these Gong calls. Now, on the right-hand side here, you'll notice that we've got a 0, which means that our data points have not been classified yet. This is the final piece of analysis in connecting this integration into Channels, and you've got to let this cook for a little bit. Depending on how high volume you've got, so for example, if you've brought in 1,000 calls, you might want to give this an hour to properly cook and classify the data points into the correct buckets and themes. So let's let this cook and we'll pop back in a sec. All right, so it's been a few minutes. I've jumped back in. We've got a bit of classification happening here. You can see that it's going to take a little bit longer to start bringing all of these thousands of data points into the right themes. As I said, let it cook, but let's jump in now and see what we've got so far. If I click into this theme, you can see that we're going to have a summary generated for us. And this is a really quick way to understand exactly what customers are saying and why this theme has been generated and the opportunities that are there for you to address this. So for example, Channels will actually surface some actions for you to take. You can see here there's 2 actions that are recommended, and we'll pull out the exact verbatim quotes from customers so you can start to get a feel for, within these long transcripts, what were the key points that customers are making that ladder up to this theme around long-term user retention. You can go even deeper if you want to get down to that level of granularity and altitude. Click into the data point and you can actually go into the conversation. Now we will chunk this and we will break it up by the internal and the external caller. If within your Gong metadata you've actually assigned who the speakers were, this will show up here and you can read through the entire transcript if you need to. Now, the way that we run analysis on Gong calls is we only analyze the external speakers. So we can recognize that in the Gong metadata, and we're not going to be analyzing what your AEs or your CSMs are saying about your product. We're going to be analyzing what your customers are saying. So that's really important for us to be able to surface and pull opportunities up for you that are actually things your customers are saying, not the way that your internal teams are speaking about your product. So again, depending on the level of altitude you want to get to, whether you want to go super high into your buckets, to your themes, to your data points, you can always work at the level of altitude that you want to. So let's let this cook for a little bit longer, and then we'll jump in and finish off with how you can chat and visualize your data as well. Alrighty, so we've cooked a little bit longer. It's been about 15 minutes now, and you can see here that we've got a lot more data points that have classified into the themes. The themes have shifted a little bit depending on the volume of data points that have been classified into those themes. And right at the top now, we actually have a different theme called Streaming Unreliability Frustration. Now, by volume, this is the highest weighted theme. Now you can see up the top here, we've also got a lovely visualization happening. So you can see trends over time. Really importantly, when you've got longitudinal data flowing in and ingesting this live, you need to be able to see how that's trending over time so that you can identify things like anomalies, emerging themes, risks. And this is what this visualization allows you to do. So for example, if I just wanted to have a look at what this frustration has been over time, I can see here that it peaked around early December, and perhaps that's actually when we deployed a fix for this, and I can see over time that the feedback volume is going down, which is a great thing. We love to see it. Now, the final thing that I'll talk you through today, and the benefit of getting your Gong data into Dovetail, is how it contributes holistically to your voice of customer. Now, once this is in Dovetail, in your customer intelligence platform, you can actually chat to your Gong calls. Now, this is really cool. You can bring up chat and you can ask it anything you like. And the altitude that the chat will work within is this Gong channel. So you're able to actually have a conversation with your Gong data. You can ask it specific questions about product lines, feature requests, pain points. You can even ask for specific quotes from customers, and you can also break it down by the metadata fields associated with your Gong data. So for example, if up the top here I've got, churn risks associated in the metadata to my transcripts. I've got the plan type that customer is on. I've got the favorite genres that I want to go by. You can actually ask questions and reference this metadata to hone in the results chat gives you. So for example, I could say, what are our premium subscription customers saying about slow evening performance? And chat is going to look at the data points, it is going to look at the themes, and it's also going to look at who are your premium customers associated to these data points in that metadata. So you're able to really start to hone in on a specific slice or segment of customer or topic that is relevant to you and the job that you have to get done. Now you can see here we've got our response, we've got a bunch of citations, super important in Dovetail. Anytime that we are quoting something, we will always trace it back to the original data points. And you can see here that if we're calling out performance has dipped recently, there is a whole bunch of evidence to support this where you can click into and actually see the data point that is contributing to this. So that's a wrap on how to get Gong calls into Dovetail and the value that it brings. Again, the more data that you have in your customer intelligence platform, the more holistic understanding you're going to have of your customer. Traditionally, like I said, Gong calls have been locked away in this siloed product. So it's really cool that you can now get them in as a live stream into your customer intelligence platform and be able to work with it at the level you need to uncover those insights and see those opportunities that our real world go-to-market teams are having with customers every day. I hope this allows you to move a lot faster. I hope this allows you to make some better decisions in your roles. And as always, please leave us feedback. We are in beta with Gong, so we would love to hear about any improvements you would love for this integration.